You feel understood, then suddenly exposed. Not judged, not attacked, just seen a little too clearly. And that can feel comforting at first, until the comfort starts acting like pressure. Because when an INFJ and an INFP connect emotionally, it might not feel loud. It might not look dramatic. It can start quietly. One conversation, one look, one sentence that lands closer than expected. And then something shifts. The INFJ starts noticing what the INFP didn't say. The pause, the softened voice, the way the topic changed right before it got honest. And the INFP feels it, not just noticed, reached. That's the strange part. You wanted to be understood, but not that quickly. You wanted someone to care, but not walk straight into the room you usually keep locked. Too much, too soon. And suddenly, empathy doesn't feel like warmth anymore. It feels like exposure. You've felt this before. A conversation starts simple. Maybe it's about stress, a bad day, something small. Then the INFJ says something like, "I don't think you're actually upset about that. I think you're tired of feeling like you have to explain yourself." And the room changes. Because the INFP might laugh it off, might go quiet, might say, "Yeah, maybe." But inside, something tightens. Because that wasn't just accurate, it was intimate. The INFJ may not be trying to invade. They're often responding through emotional atmosphere, reading tone, tension, subtle shifts, what feels unresolved. But the INFP's inner world is deeply personal, not performative, not easily handed over. So when someone names something that private before the INFP has chosen to reveal it, it can feel less like being understood and more like being opened. That's where it turns. The INFJ might think, "I'm making space for honesty." The INFP might feel, "I didn't agree to be seen this deeply." And neither person is wrong. That's the painful part. Empathy can be beautiful, but empathy without pacing can feel like pressure. The INFJ may absorb the INFP's emotions and try to respond before the INFP has fully processed them. The INFP may feel emotionally recognized, but also strangely cornered. Because being seen is not always the same as feeling safe. Sometimes the INFP needs time to decide what the feeling even means. And the INFJ, sensing the feeling already, may move toward it too fast. This is the part people miss. The overwhelm doesn't always come from conflict. Sometimes it comes from connection. A message that is too thoughtful. A question that is too precise. A silence that feels too knowing. The INFP may start pulling back, not because they stopped caring, but because the connection is reaching places they haven't stabilized yet. You call it space, but it often starts as overwhelm. And the INFJ might feel confused, because they were gentle, they were patient, they were trying to understand. But emotional depth still has timing. A person can be kind and still get too close. A conversation can be honest and still move too fast. Someone can see you clearly and still not know what that seeing does to you. Not at the same pace. For the INFJ, closeness may grow through shared emotional truth. For the INFP, closeness often needs internal consent first. They need to feel, "I chose to show you this," not, "You found it before I was ready." That difference matters. Because when the INFP feels emotionally exposed, they might not explain it clearly. They might soften the moment, change the subject, disappear for a while. Become vague where they were open 5 minutes ago. And the INFJ may sense the retreat instantly. Then they might lean in more. "Did I say something wrong? Are you okay?" I just want to understand. But that can make the INFP feel even more watched, more interpreted, more responsible for calming someone else's concern while still trying to understand their own reaction. And now the connection has become a loop. The INFJ senses distance. The INFP feels sensed. The INFJ tries to repair. The INFP feels more exposed. That's where it breaks. It's not that the connection was too much, it reached something before it was ready. And when that happens, both people can leave the same conversation with completely different pain. The INFJ may feel shut out after offering care. The INFP may feel invaded by care that came too close. That sounds dramatic, but it can be very quiet. A delayed reply, a sudden tiredness, a joke that covers discomfort, a warm conversation that somehow ends with both people feeling alone. If that felt a little too real, you probably already know. The hard truth is this: not all emotional understanding feels safe in the moment. Sometimes being understood feels like relief. Sometimes it feels like someone turned the lights on before you were ready to be seen. And for an INFP, especially when something is still tender or unformed, being named too accurately can feel like losing ownership of the feeling. For an INFJ, especially when they care, not responding to what they sense can feel almost impossible. So the connection becomes intense because both are responding sincerely. One is reaching, one is protecting, one is trying to hold the emotion, one is trying not to be swallowed by it. And somewhere between those two instincts, empathy becomes overwhelming. The solution is not less depth, it's slower depth. Less, I know what you're feeling. More, tell me if I'm close. Less emotional certainty. More permission. Less reaching into the room, more standing at the door. Because the INFP may open deeply, but not when they feel emotionally rushed. And the INFJ may love deeply, but has to learn that sensing something doesn't always mean entering it. Some people won't fully get this, but someone will. The right connection doesn't just understand you, it gives you room to arrive at yourself. Because being seen is powerful, but being allowed to reveal yourself slowly, that's safety. And sometimes the most loving thing an INFJ can do is pause. Sometimes the most honest thing an INFP can do is say, I care, but this is getting too close too fast. Not because the bond is wrong, not because the empathy failed, because the connection mattered enough to need pacing. It didn't feel wrong. It just went deeper than you could stay open for, and if this keeps happening, you already know this isn't the last time.